The spread of the coronavirus has had a devastating effect on South Africa's vulnerable population. This has also highlighted how most of the youth do not have the financial discipline to save money for times such as these. Most of the young in the country experienced job losses and pay cuts due to the effects of COVID-19. Nkazi Sokhulu, the CEO and founder of Yalu Credit Life Insurance, joins us now via Skype to talk about the importance of financial literacy and how you can manage to save money even after taking a pay cut. Nkazi, a very good morning to you. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be on here this morning.
What tips are there on how to look after one's finances or even reviewing personal spending trends?
So for me, there's really three things that I like to suggest that people look into in these tough times. So the first one would be what we do for a living at Yalu Credit Life, at Yalu Financial Services, which is credit life insurance. And I say this because when you think about it, most South Africans are heavily indebted, one way or another, because we have to send our kids to school, or we have to look after extended family members. And so as a result of that, we tend to live off credit. And one of the ways in which you can save on that credit is by looking at your credit life insurance, which is a type of life insurance that banks insist that you must pay and have for the duration of your loan. And the idea behind it is that in case you die, you get disabled, or you get retrenched, your debt will then be settled by that life insurance policy. Now, most people don't realize they're paying for this even though they've got debt. And for us, we saw an opportunity that people need to understand, that we believe customers need to understand, which is to save on this very important form of life insurance that you're already paying for. And so for me, that's one place where you can save, and that's what Yalu does. We combine people's credit life policies and cover all their debts in one single policy at a very, very good premium, and we do that with in partnership with Old Mutual, alternative risk transfer. So that is the one method I recommend people that is related to what I do for a living. Now, there are other aspects that I think are very, very useful that people should consider. One of them is a number of people have home loans, but they also have other types of debt. So they'll have credit card debt, they'll have personal loans. All these other types of unsecured loans have very high interest rates. And so that means they're very expensive to service. So one thing I always suggest people to do is ask your banker, can I combine all my existing debts into just my home loan? And what will happen with that is that home loan interest rate is far cheaper. And so what that will mean for you is that if you combine all your debts into your home loan debt, you'll still have your outstanding debts, but now your monthly interest rate dramatically drops. Okay. Just by comparison, you'll find that credit card debt, personal loan debt, almost 30% interest rate premiums, interest rates per month. If you compare that with a home loan, under 10%. So that's a very, very big difference. And that for me is a very important way you can save money during this tough time. And I think the third sure.
What if you use different banks then, Nkazi?
That's a very good question. So what I have been in that situation before, and what I did is that I actually asked the three banks that I had a relationship with, and I said, here's my situation, here are my outstanding debts, who can give me the best deal? And I let them basically fight it out and offer me the best deal. So ask all three, if you've got three or two, whatever the number may be, ask them to fight for your business. And that is one way you can reduce your monthly installment amounts.
Okay. All right. Well, we've raised a very interesting dynamic into the whole culture of servicing your debt and saving. And speaking of saving, we know that so many South Africans are hugely indebted, and by the time their salary comes, and just a couple of days, they're already in the negative because of some of the debts we've just highlighted, bank loans or home loans, personal loans, etc. And for you to be able to save, you need to have something to save. And those who have little left of saving, how can they be expected to save? I mean, how can you manage to save money even after taking a pay cut, for instance?
Yeah, look, I'll be honest with you. It's tough. A number of family members themselves find themselves in the situation where they've had to take pay cuts, and I've been engaging with them on a number of methods that they could use to save money. And I think one of the things that I've suggested all of them to do is, people always say to you, budget, 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 but budgeting is. It's a painful exercise for all of us, for most people to go through. It's not something you really look forward to, and no one really gives you good tips as to how to do it properly. So one of the best things I have found to help me when it comes to budgeting, when I've got a crash crunch, is I have asked my bank to actually send me my bank statements as an Excel file. So instead of sending me a Word document or a PDF document as they normally do, or through mail, they send it on Excel. And the reason why that is important is that it allows me to do some summations very quickly to see, on average, where am I spending my money when it comes to entertainment? Where am I spending my money how am I spending my money when it comes to groceries and the like? So it allows you to do sums, addition, subtraction very, very quickly on a simple tool. And then it allows me to then say, oh, okay, this is perhaps where I need to cut out, much, much more simpler. So just getting it on a platform like Excel to get my monthly bank statement, it makes it so much easier for me to actually start doing budgeting. So that's one of the things I've suggested. Most banks know how to send it to you. You just have to ask. And it's been very, very useful. At least I can recall in the case of my uncle. He's been very, very happy to now actually have a little bit more control to know here are the places where he needs to save much, much more easily than sitting down with a piece of paper and writing out one item at a time as he gets from his bank statement. So that's just another practical tool that I think people can use in this time to actually help them budget a little bit better as their income shrinks.
Now, Nkazi, just back to your point on consolidating your debt into your home loan, am I correct to suggest that it will definitely push up the monthly repayments of the home loan?
So if it will on the home loan side, so let me now be a little bit vulnerable and be personal with you on this one. So let's say, in my case, let's say my monthly bond is 10,000 Rand. Okay. And yet I've got credit card debt and I normally pay 3,000 Rand on it. I've got a personal loan and I normally pay 4,000 Rand on it. Mm-hmm. Yes, when you consolidate them, my home loan debt my monthly repayment on my home loan will go up from 10,000. But what will happen is, instead of 10 plus 3 plus 4, which is 17,000 that I'm paying towards all three debts, I'll probably now pay about 12,000 towards my home loan, which is far cheaper when you consider all three combined. So yes, the home loan debt has gone up, but the monthly installments on all three debts combined has gone down, because the interest rate on the home loan is far, far less than it is on unsecured.
So is that method or mechanism only applicable to a certain number of people, perhaps those who've got a high, high interest scoring, or rather high score, credit score, that's the right word, or is it just open to anyone?
You're absolutely right. It is. It does come down to your particular credit score. So for me, it's three aspects in particular. As you can hear, my little creatures are talking here. So the wonders of live interviewing. So there are three aspects that it comes down to. I was listening to your earlier speaker talking about the difficulties of teaching little kids during this tough time, and this is what normally happens in my world.
I know. Tell me about it.
So anyway. There are three aspects when it comes to how that will be evaluated for your particular case. The first aspect is they'll look at your credit score. The second aspect is they'll look at your overall relationship, your deep relationship with that in the individual bank. So let's say you have a relationship with the blue bank and you have a relationship with the red bank. Mm-hmm. If you have only one product with the blue bank, but you've got 4 products with the red bank, the red bank means you have a far deeper relationship with them, and so they're more likely to grant you this request. Okay. So they will look at your credit score, they'll look at the depth of your relationship in terms of how many products you have with them, and ultimately they will make a call based on your relationship with that bank, and then hopefully give you that.
Nkazi, great conversation we're having. I wish we had more time, but we have to end it there, unfortunately. But thank you so much for your valuable insights. We appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
We just spoke to Nkazi Sokhulu, the CEO and founder of Yalu Credit Life Insurance, who urges the youth to expand their knowledge on financial literacy during these times of uncertainty. And this is where the show will end. Thank you so much for joining us. Till tomorrow morning, good morning.